Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Michael Sonnenshein, Managing Director at Grayscale, for an update on the crypto landscape and what's been a remarkable few weeks of mass adoption announcements. Michael, it's great to see you again. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me on.
And 2020 has been quite a year for Grayscale. Assets under management are growing exponentially. Give us an update on the highlights.
Well, I would say that it's been one of the largest periods of growth for the Grayscale business. We started the year at about $2 billion in assets under management. And as of last night, we're actually now up to over $7 billion in assets under management. We've seen unprecedented demand for investors to be gaining exposure to digital currencies and doing so through the Grayscale family of products. I think the macro environment is really causing a lot of investors to look for new diversified return streams. We've seen a massive uptick in our flagship product, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. In fact, Jill, if it was an ETF or an ETP, which it is not, it would actually be the third fastest growing ETP this year, just based on asset growth. So we've really seen investors digging in on the asset class and also diversifying beyond Bitcoin. Now about 51% of our investors have actually gained exposure to more than one digital currency and inherently more than one Grayscale product.
What was the best performing asset in Q3, and how did it compare to other crypto and traditional indexes?
Well, we've seen actually an outperformance over the quarter and also the whole year as a whole in actually Ethereum. So as I'm sure you know, Ethereum is it is the second largest digital currency by market cap after Bitcoin. And we've really seen a lot of investors digging into Ethereum, number one, because of its strong performance, but also because of the big move towards DeFi or decentralized finance.
Yeah, and that was exactly what I was going to ask you, why you thought it experienced so much growth, because DeFi really seems to be a big part of the conversation, more so than I can remember in 2020 than years past. But even to indexes like, the Nasdaq 100, as an example, which has been a fantastic outperformer in the equity world this year, Ethereum has outperformed that as well.
It has, and I think one of the main sticking points for investors around this asset class over the course of this year has really been its resilience. If you look back to March and you saw that massive deleveraging in the market when the COVID-19 pandemic really brought the entire world to a grinding halt, it was really incredible to see that although crypto actually fell more precipitously than other asset classes, the fact that it's come back and rebounded as fast and as much as it have, and has really outperformed a lot of other markets and other asset classes.
Who represented the flow, and are there any discernible trends there?
Well, I think we're still continuing to see a healthy flow primarily from institutions. About 80% of Grayscale's inflows come from institutions, primarily hedge funds. And I think what's been most interesting to us is that there's this general notion that crypto is only for one kind of investor. And what's been really interesting is that our investor base spans everything from risk arb funds to long short equity funds to global macro funds to momentum funds. And so I think what's been interesting is how different portfolio managers and firms with different investment mandates have been trying to find different ways in how crypto can complement or enhance the portfolios they're managing.
Let's talk about some encouraging mass adoption news. In October, Square invested $50 million into crypto. PayPal announced it will allow crypto transactions starting 2021. What are you thinking if you're a major bank right now? Are you scrambling to figure out how to support Bitcoin? Because it seems like the crypto story is not going anywhere. 2020 certainly shows that there's a use case for all this.
Absolutely. I think on the heels of public companies like MicroStrategy and Square adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets, seeing how much PayPal is getting involved in the space, I mean, they're going to bring Bitcoin and several other digital currencies to over 20 million merchants, not to mention over 300 million users. If you are at all involved in financial services and you are still running proofs of concept or still just having internal meetings and working groups, a lot of these moments of validation are really causing a lot of these groups to move off of zero. And I think you're going to continue to see both consolidation in the space and some M&A transactions that allow some traditional players to get more involved in the space, and also seeing other financial services firms who have maybe had some projects going on behind the scenes start to reveal those plans to make sure that they're keeping pace with investment interest in this asset class.
I mean, Michael, it's quite incredible when you say it out loud. Over 300 million people are going to be on this PayPal platform because of the Bitcoin capabilities there. I mean, that's almost the population of the United States. That's a huge number. It's crazy when you think of it like that.
It really, really is. And if you think about how successful this has been already for companies like Square and Robinhood, and thinking about Grayscale bringing in assets alone this year, more than double what we've brought in the past 5 or 6 years cumulatively, it really is all the evidence you need that this asset class is not going away. Investors want access to it, and it's just a matter of them figuring out the right allocation and where within this asset class they want to get involved.
All right, Michael, great to see you as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.